So last time we met, we went through quite a lot of collection box sets in one sitting.
We did.
And it's time we did an update.
Part two. We've been busy.
You've been busy.
I've been busy.
You've been busy, and there's been quite a few collection box sets released in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Before we do that, for those who are less familiar with yourself and your work, would you be able to tell us who you are?
Sure. I was trying to sort of figure this out before we started. Who am I? My name is Lee Binding. I have been working on Doctor Who for about 30 years. Kind of started at Big Finish, did DVD covers, then got involved in doing the sort of movie poster stuff that you may have seen for like season 6 onwards. And I think the most recognisable thing would probably be the Day of the Doctor artwork.
What was your first job on Doctor Who?
It was James Goss. If you know James Goss, he's one of my best friends. He's lovely. Now lives in a cave in Turkey. He was in charge of the BBC website. He just wanted some comp work done for second episode. He said, "Are you available?" And I went, "Yeah, sure. What's it for?" And he sent me an NDA with, Doctor Who on there. I was like, ah! Signed it, sent it back, and all the pictures for End of the World came through. And I was like, what the hell? Because there was no stuff that was sort of like around for it. You'd seen little bits of filming stuff, and it just all came through, and it was like, oh my God. So that's my first official job. There was some Big Finish stuff that was on in the background as well. It built and built and built and built. So yeah, it was great. It's great.
Over the last few years, you've been designing the front covers and all the interiors as well for the collection range, which are the re-releases of classic Doctor Who on Blu-ray.
Yes.
Loads of exciting special features. And very importantly, the packaging looks gorgeous. It looks amazing on the shelf. I think we should crack open our first box set.
Okay. So basically my job, if you're joining us fresh, is to create all the artwork and packaging for these things here. So it's kind of, you come up with the cover, you do the insides, all that kind of thing, and then you lay it out, and then it goes off to the printers, and then months later, you get one of these. When
you get briefed on a new box set,
yeah,
would you typically start with the cover?
Yes, and it's not really a brief. It's just Russell Minton messaging me, going, "We're doing this one now."
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. And I've now got access to all the pictures from the BBC archive. The process is basically you'll download them and then go through episode by episode and start sort of like siphoning it off and go, okay, that's the cover. That's going to be the disc art. That's going to be probably the booklet cover. And you sort of like start allocating things where it goes. And those ideas are sort of like bubbling away. And eventually you sort of like, it coalesces. And eventually you end up with this. So yeah. So yeah, like, not really a brief. It's just sort of like, we're doing this number next.
And then you're just straight onto the computer, like...
Yeah.
Getting bits together.
Yeah, my autism's just like, we got to start filing things.
Fantastic. So for this box set, what was the inspiration behind this cover?
Well, we'd not done a Hartnell before, and whenever we do a new Doctor, I always do the sort of the most doctory Doctor that ever doctored. For example, our first one for 26 was the first time we'd done a McCoy, and I really wanted him sort of like heroic and dark. There's a darkness to him in that season. With Hartnell here, I mean, he's kind of like, it's season 2. He's kind of like, he's found his footing. He's gone through loss. He's gone through a lot of triumph, but also there's still that kind of like curiosity about the universe. And so as a result, that's what I wanted to bring onto it. That curiosity and that willingness to travel. So.
And for this box set, did you have any trouble sourcing images from that early on? Like the 60s, there's probably, I presume there's not that many images you can use.
There's not, and also, I mean, there's less colour than black and white. But that's fine because, I'm sort of getting better at colouring images and that kind of thing. So he's very difficult to capture face on. You don't often get to see him face on. It's about at least 7 or 8 different pictures that are sort of like thrown together. I think I mentioned this with the last couple of sets, but every time that you sort of like, you start off with the cover, I want that season to be as you remember it. It's more a sort of like fantasy of what the season was. And then as you get closer to the discs, it becomes a little bit more sort of realistic of how you're going to be seeing it on screen. So
I absolutely love this, because this is my favourite episode of Hartnell.
I think, and according to a lot of Doctor Who location guides, it is the bridge just down there. I live very close to where it was filmed, so I was able to go over and take a photo of it, and the background is actually that. So we've got sort of like, it's those start getting into more sort of black and white stuff as well. Very much kind of like, okay, this is how the episode is going to be. But you know, the sort of fantasy of it, we've got the booklet and that there. I haven't seen this in ages.
That's a great poster. That's just a great bit of artwork.
Yeah. Whenever I do these, it's kind of like, for the booklet cover, it's always the image that you would see on iPlayer that never got taken. That's how they would have maybe publicised that series. The difficulty that I had with it was there are so many cast members, and how do you represent those, and how do you sort of give them space and give them importance? So
Fantastic. Exactly. What's your favourite story on this box set?
Oh my God, I love the chase. It's there we go. The chase is on the back there. I love early Doctor Who so much. The ambition is always so high. I mean, whether they reach it or not, there's always an ambition, and just the idea that they're going to so many different locations in so many different time periods, just insane. I think next on the list is season 9. This one, okay. This one just didn't want to be made. With previous ones, and in a couple of cases, they just come to you fully formed. Oh, I'm going to do this on the cover, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And this one just didn't want that. It was like pulling teeth. I've got a real problem with this as an artistic process. I've genuinely not seen this since I did it, because I was so kind of like, oh God, I hated it. The photos were difficult to sort of like pull together, and the concept for it as well. I think I was going off in about 3 different directions, and normally they speak to you and just sort of like, oh yeah, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And it was radio silence. It was just like, oh, okay. I think for this one, I feel personally like I didn't interpret it, or I wasn't open to sort of like getting it ready or whatever. I don't know. I tried my best. So it's going to be interesting to look at this and see, did it work?
Genuinely. You've got all the important parts in there, like the...
Alpha Centauri.
Yeah. What is this tool?
Okay, that is for when he hypnotises Agador in the Peladon story. It's very niche. It's very niche. It's very niche. And I think that's where the problem for this one started, because there are so many lovely shots of him in various other costumes of this season. But now we know that we're doing season 7. Like, he's wearing his black and red outfit for a lot of it. So I couldn't use it on this one. You know, you basically, if you've got a sort of like option to do different outfits, you just want to do different ones for each one. So I was kind of stuck with this outfit, and the assets for it were really hard to work with.
And I guess with you doing it out of order, you don't want to waste a costume that you want to use. Like, say, you know, you've done season 7 now. Mm-hmm. You don't want to use up all your good assets on one box set, because you've got to save a bit for... Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
So I can see the predicament there in terms of like, choices.
Yeah. And you sort of, I mean, you got 7 years of Tom Baker, where you go, oh, I do need, you know...
You've got to make it different every time.
Exactly. Like I say, I can't remember much about this. So. Oh, right, okay, yeah. This took forever. When I'm doing the box sets, you've got to represent all the stories. So I'd gone through it and went, oh, well, Mutants kind of needs that sort of like breathing space. It doesn't really get that sort of much prominence. So I sort of came up with the idea of the TARDIS landing there, threw it down and went, okay, let's do that. 3 months later, when I sort of like come back to it and go, oh yeah, this is the idea for this one, I realised that I've just got really low risk screen grabs. Joe's outfit is created from about 3 or 4 different sort of like sources. It was a pain. And just like opening that file and going, oh, here we go again, let's do this. But yeah, sort of like all this was all hand drawn. I had to, you know, make the background.
Have there been any times where you've cheated things slightly?
I think the only time would be like stealing a hand from a different season. Yeah, it's
so you're pretty faithful to what's there.
Yeah, I think so. Or using a stock image of someone's arms on the one after season 7. I've used a stock image of someone's hand doing this. Slide this, lady's hand, doing that for one of the images, which may or may not get used. Is that cheating? I don't know whether it's cheating.
If it is cheating, it's the only time you've done it. I think that's pretty impressive. Are there any Easter eggs in this box set you'd like to highlight?
Like I say, I'm just sort of like, I'm viewing it for the first time. Let me have a look at the booklet cover. Yeah, this came out all right, actually. One of the first DVD covers that I did was Day of the Daleks. So doing that kind of like viewing them through the eye of the Dalek, it kind of references what I was trying to do on the DVD cover, I think, but sort of slightly elevated, I hope. And it just heroes these two amazing characters. I love this season.
What's your favourite on this?
Day of the Daleks.
It's Day of the Daleks.
Yeah.
I might have to go for the Dalek story as well, just because it's Daleks.
Sea Devils is good. Wasn't as bad as I remembered.
It's honestly, I think you're being very harsh on yourself.
Yeah. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, I like, yeah.
These always come from like screen grabs and things like that. And I've got a very talented guy, Jonathan Picard, very good. He does these TARDIS renders for me, and I just sort of like, can you do that? And can you do me this? And he was just like, yeah, sure.
I used to have the action figure of that TARDIS. I had to let it go, unfortunately, because there's a limit to the amount of plastic dollies you can have.
Yeah.
Season 20?
Season 20. This is a weird one because when we first started the collections, we started with seasons 12 and 19. And I got delivered the photos for season 20 at the same time. So 20 was pretty much one of the first ones that I was working on as well in the background. So when I came to invoice, they said, when did this project first start? And I was like, 5 years ago. And they were just like, I'm sorry, what? So the reason why I say it is that like, the gestation for these, there are sets that I've been working on in the background for such a long time.
It sounds like you've got a good idea of what the overall collection will look like.
Yeah.
And I guess you sort of have to do that to make sure that there's enough variety in the designs.
Yeah.
It requires your brain, I think, to be incredibly organised.
Yes. There's two things I want to say about that. The first one is I want to treat it like a sausage factory, I suppose. I do get a stage fright every time that you open up the new file. If you're in the middle of another project and go, oh yeah, I'm just going to start, you know, the next season now, it's minimized a little bit. But also because I'm jumping around all over the place, there have been instances where I've had to completely change the colour of one of them. Say with season 7, we look at season 8 or something like that that's next to it, and I go, oh shit, I've done it in the same colours. so then I have to redo it and that kind of thing. So I've got this document that I have which sort of like updates all the covers, and they're all in there and they're all sort of laid out, even stuff that nobody has seen yet. And it's interesting seeing how they've evolved, but also you've got to sort of like then make them look like a collection cover. As we're saying, like 5-6 years in, I've evolved, you know, things have evolved. You then have to sort of like get it back to, or get it to the point where you go, oh yeah, that's the techniques I was using, and that's what I was doing, the lighting I was using, and that kind of stuff.
To make it look consistent on the shelf.
Yeah, for sure. And now I'm all about consistency.
Yeah. And the fans all about consistency as well.
Sure.
So, yeah, I would love to see that spreadsheet one day.
Maybe.
You do the convention circuit.
Yeah, I'll just flash it up on screen with all the drafts and go,
oh. Yeah, people would pay to see that.
Yeah, you reckon?
One day.
Thumbs up. This is a chonky boy. Very much, I always wanted this pose for Davison. It's very easy to slip into the idea of doing all the stuff for the 5 Doctors with this set. There's so many big stories in this one. You know, the Guardians trilogy, that gets a big space in this one, but also sort of Snake Dance is a great story.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to do with that. Yeah, I think I had a lot of difficulty with this because most of the images were black and white. You know, and even sort of like, you'll never get to see it, his cricket jersey underneath, that had to be cut out, coloured, and you know, there's so many layers. It's like literally the coat is a separate layer and that kind of thing. So yeah, and I always remember sort of like when I was launching this, you know, because we put it on social media and stuff like that, and you know, it's lovely seeing the fan reaction, but there's always people who will go, why isn't that on the cover? And I was prepared because the Black Guardian is not on the cover. And I was just like, because my friends, he's on the back.
Which is a nice touch as well.
Yeah, and I think this is one of my favourite back artworks. Such a sort of menacing figure. It just sort of plays on how powerful they are as a creation. So yeah, so launching that at the same time was just like, ha! Oh, cute!
The 5 Doctors is hands down, I think it's my favourite classic Doctor Who episode.
Yeah, I think so too.
Do you remember when it was aired?
Yeah, and I know.
How old were you? Were you small?
I was really small, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was with my family, and they didn't care for Doctor Who, and I was so excited. And they were in the other room, Now, we were lived in a council house. This is not a sob story, but we were living in it was freezing cold. And they had the fire in the next, it was an open fire. This is how old I am. And I had the oven on with the door open just to sort of keep warm. And I was watching this on a black and white TV. I was so excited that every time something came on, like the Dalek turning up, I'd open the door and go, oh my God, there's a Dalek! And they were just watching the A-Team going, yeah, sure, whatever. so after K9 turned up, I just stopped opening the door, and it was sort of like, I will always have fond memories of it. Booklet. Oh, okay. And this is interesting because this season here, you've got all the companions pretty much having their own character arc. You know, they're all doing their separate things. So I think what I was trying to do is represent that as much as possible. So, you know, Nissa's arc finishes. Tegan once again gets infected by the Mara. You got Turlo turning up, who's influenced by the Black Guardian, and you got Chameleon just sort of like sticking in and causing trouble. So, you know, and the Doctor sort of like linking them all together. So,
what's your opinion on non-human companions?
Love them.
Really?
Absolutely love them.
Do you think that's something we should see again?
Oh,
soon?
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm just excited by all companions, to be honest. Yeah, I love their stories because you've got the overarching story of the Doctor, whoever they are, whatever's going on with them, and then you get these sort of like gorgeous sort of like moments in time of each companion. So it doesn't matter to me whether they're human or not. I just want a really good story for them. And if they happen to be a robot dog, great. If they happen to be a robot, brilliant.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see that again.
Yeah, for sure. Easter eggs, I don't... Oh, this is
the TARDIS is lovely. That is absolutely gorgeous.
Gavin Rymel, he does the inside renders and the disc menus. He sent me this one through, and it's from the first... Is it the first story? It's one where the TARDIS goes dark. I love it when the TARDIS changes as an environment, and that looked amazing to me. So I think it's Terminus. I'm going to say that's the Easter egg. Yeah, and we've seen the back as well.
20. Oh, favourite episode on this for you?
5 Doctors, but what else we got on here? I'm going to say this is one of my seasons from when I was growing up, so I've got a huge fondness for everything here. Terminus scared the hell out of me as a kid.
It's going to have to be 5 Doctors for me.
Yeah, you have good taste.
It's like camp as hell, and that's probably why. So like quotable as well.
Yes.
I feel like there's just so many moments. And when we watched it in the BFI, there were so many moments that everyone laughed. One of my favourite scenes is the Master and the Time Lord's Flavia. Flavia literally doesn't like say anything. She's just like...
That's because they slept together.
Yes.
It's literally, it's the energy of that is your ex coming into the room and she's just like...
Good. So when we watched that in the BFI, it's like there's no dialogue. She's just like... And everyone's just like...
Love
it.
It's the way he flicks his tail down and goes, I may be seated.
What makes you think... He's like
chewing his teeth.
He's like, can you get me into the zone?
Okay, next one. Season 15.
There's an explosion of jelly babies and cogs.
Yes.
Just everything's going everywhere.
This cover, whether subconsciously or not, was inspired by that amazing trailer for the Doctor Who 50th, where you see Tom Baker sort of, and the camera flips around him and that kind of thing. And I was just
that is my favourite trailer.
Oh, absolutely. It's so good.
I think I like it more than Do You Want to Come With Me?
Yeah, which is iconic. Yeah,
it's great. It's great. It's great.
And it sets up an adventure.
Just the 50th trailer gave me chills. It made me so emotional when I saw that trailer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good.
The music's good.
It's just the 50th. You just had to be there.
Yeah.
As a new Marvel fan, I'm getting this over, Endgame, because I didn't watch it at the time. I know. And I've just discovered it. I watched it last year.
Yeah.
And it made me realise, like the 50th, if I had been there, like how special that would have been. And I think the 50th is the same. If you're a new fan and you miss the 50th, it's like... Because it was... I cannot get across what an exciting time that was.
It was incredible.
Way more than the 60th.
There was a moment of just sort of like anything could happen.
Yeah.
It was real kind of powerful and everybody was connected with it. It was so...
And it was the first time that I felt very, very unified with lots of other fans because of the cinema thing as well. Just in Odeon, it being full of hundreds of Doctor Who fans. Everyone is like reacting to it at the same time. That was so special.
Yeah.
And it's quite weird to think that it's probably not... We're never going to have anything like that again.
We might.
We haven't got any massive anniversaries, because 50th is quite a big one.
Yeah.
60th was good, specials.
Love that.
But then 70th?
Yeah, why
That's
not?
okay, fair.
Yeah.
65th?
Because I think 60th is diamond. I think there's something really special for 70th as well. Maybe
Okay.
it's platinum or something
Right,
like
okay,
that.
so we might get something.
We might get something.
You were saying the trailer was a big influence for this.
I think so. Looking at it, I'm sort of like I'm joining it up, but also I think Tom Baker at this point here is his most explosive. He's running down the corridors. He's reacting to stuff in a way that is more sort of. There's a lot more sort of emotion to it. So I kind of wanted to bring that in. He stopped being that kind of like dour alien at the back of the room where your eyes just sort of like drawn to him. He's literally just sort of like bursting in and go, "Don't bloody do that." This one just gets a more. I don't want to say exciting because it's not. There's just a lot of Tom and a lot of so that's where we are.
What's your favourite Tom Baker quote?
The one about curry? No, I can't think of any at the moment. What about you?
I wouldn't even say no to a salami sandwich. It's like the maddest line in Doctor Who. He does say some mad stuff.
He does, and
like
the delivery as well.
The delivery of it, or it's a bit where he's like the key to time, where he's like,
yeah,
I possess the key to time. And there's like that speech about it, and it's just he just looks mad. I personally love it when the Doctor is an eccentric weirdo.
Yeah.
Even someone like the Ninth Doctor who is dressed like an everyday person. Even the Ninth Doctor's quite weird. Like with the bananas, like he always said banana to a party, and he's just quite erratic. And the more the Doctor can be weird, the better, in my eyes.
Absolutely,
Like, so
I love that.
yeah.
And because we've got such a long history of it as well, you can pick and choose those moments and go, "Oh, that's my character."
Yeah.
And those linking bits are so nice. So
Yeah.
So I love that we had Tom Baker for so long because you got to see an evolution of the character. And also, aesthetically, this season is crazy because you've got that switch between the gothic and then into the tinfoil of Invisible Enemy and the lesser stories as well, and Invasion of Time. I don't know whether it was a budgetary thing, but it just doesn't look as polished.
Yes.
That's fine, because
Yeah.
creativity comes out of that. It does feel like it's a game of two halves with this one. Get me doing a sports thing. So
Game of two halves at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Brilliant.
Trying to bring that sort of aesthetic to the cover as well was hard. I think I remember, because we're now getting into the point where my memory kicks in, so I remember what the inside bit is. Ah, yes.
Yeah, lovely.
So this here, many images make up this. There's about 2 or 3 shots of them stepping out of the police box, but none of them look heroic enough. You've got to have them sort of looking at least like they're reacting to stuff and that kind of stuff. That Tom is separate to that Leela. That K9, I think, is from a different thing altogether. Those guards are separate. I think I pretty much built up most of the set. I put the Vardens in just because. And the police box is a CG render as well. So, it's considering that's a sort of well-known image, it's kind of like, there's a lot of work that goes into that kind of stuff.
Fantastic. The scarf also gets quite a lot of real estate there. I recently bought the massive scarf. It's so impractical.
You see why you're so grumpy.
Idea. Oh my goodness. I have no idea how Tom Baker managed. You have to wrap it round. I mean, he must have been really tall.
Yeah.
I've never met Tom Baker, but I'm presuming he's tall. You have to wrap it round several times, and I'm tripping over it like every second. It's a great cosplay item, but as a sort of piece of like winter
practical
wear,
clothing,
you just can't wear it. It's too much. It's really heavy as well. So yeah, hats off to Tom Baker.
Maybe that's why he was so grumpy later on, because they made it longer as well.
Yeah, probably roasting under all those layers as well.
Oh yeah, I remember. So as I was saying, it's sort of like the game of two halves. This is kind of like the tinfoil Leela and the Doctor, and this is the more gothic horror Fang Rock. I think there's about 10 pictures from this story, but I really wanted to do it. And there's that incredible shot of Tom with the rope around his neck. So that was all coloured and then extended and that kind of thing. And same with Leela. There's no shots of her in this outfit at all. It's all her in the Victorian Edwardian dress. It was a lot of work to put all that together. Yeah, TARDIS, that's from Invisible Enemies, like K9 coming into the TARDIS for the first time. You've got the Biel Foundation over there. Yeah,
Great,
love
fantastic.
it. Okay.
So still last.
We love this one.
Let's see the episodes quickly.
All right, I know these off by heart.
Yeah. This is the most familiar I am with classic Doctor Who. It's
Yeah.
going to be it's all the Sylvester McCoy and Ace stuff.
Yeah.
And in terms of favourite, it's really, really close for me, but Remembrance and Silver Nemesis.
Interesting.
Yes, I actually really like Silver Nemesis.
Okay.
But then there's some great ones. They're all great. Like, I'm looking at, like, the others and, like, Happiness Patrol, Greatest Show in the Galaxy. Like, they're all good.
Yeah, for
But if
sure.
I absolutely had to pick one, it's probably, I'm going to say Remembrance.
Yeah. This was peak to me. Season 19 was the first series I watched as a child. And just building and building and building and building. And then you get to season 25 and you're just like, this is impeccable.
Yeah.
And just loved everything about it. You know, it's kind of like, maybe I have less favourites than, you know, maybe today I'm like, oh, I'm more Happiness Patrol than I am whatever. But yeah, this is flawless.
It is flawless.
If you buy one box set, get this one. From our point of view, right?
Yeah. And it's also something I usually say to newer fans who want to get into classic and they feel a bit unsure about going as far back as like Hartnell or some of the black and whites. I usually say if you like New Who or you like Tennant and Rose, have a look at Sylvester and Ace because those last two seasons feel like they could run directly into 2005 Who. I think that's like a nice way in, and then you can kind of dip in and out of some other stories.
How did you get into it? I want to know.
So during the 50th, I thought, I've been a Doctor Who fan for quite a while now, I'm going to have to go back and watch the old episodes. I didn't have the DVDs and they were all on Vimeo. So I started watching the Hartnell stuff. I know I'm going to get absolutely slated for this, but you know what? It's out there already in Doctor Who magazine. I just find the pace of some of the Hartnell stories a little slow.
TV has changed.
TV has changed, and back then, I just felt that it was a bit of a drag watching them in order.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? I'm going to come back to this. Chris, who was the producer on the fan show, said, why don't you start with a bit of John Pertwee? And so my first Pertwee was Spearhead from Space. And I think that raised the bar really high because obviously it's shot on film and it's gorgeous. But that sold me on classic Doctor Who, and Pertwee's Doctor sold me on classic Doctor Who. And I was like, oh, okay, this is fun. And Pertwee's kind of mad as well. There are still some stories to tick off, but like for the most part, I've probably seen a bit over 2/3 of classic Doctor Who, probably like 80% of it now. The 20% is probably Hartnell, Troughton, and a bit of Tom.
And eventually we'll release them on these things. And
I'll just wait.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between Vimeo and...
Well, the quality is like...
and the new effects on this one.
It's a significant improvement.
Exactly.
And I'm enjoying the new effects.
Me too.
This is a bit of a controversial one, but I recently got into Star Wars, and they've done similar re-releases for the original trilogy with updated effects. Apparently Disney has said that these are the versions, and they're all on Disney Plus. They're like, this is you don't have like an option to flick between the two. But I really like it.
Yeah.
I really like the updated effects.
I'm glad they exist. The original is still there if we want to sort of like go back and watch it. I think if you're erasing it, and this is the interesting thing with the Disney stuff, if you're erasing it and going, oh no, what you remembered is wrong, that I think I have a little bit of a problem with season 20. One of my favourite things in Five Doctors is that Cyberman coming over the hill and just going, and it was taken out of some versions. And I'm just like, no.
Keep it in.
Back. So there's about 15 versions of the Five Doctors on this set. As a result, I've still got it. It's still there.
Insane.
Anyway, season 25.
Season 25.
Season 25. Love
What
this.
was the inspiration behind the cover for this then?
This was, I think, an evolution from season 15 as well. The thing with the McCoy title sequence, I think, is always sort of like, if you have a look at the other two sets as well, it's very much kind of like referenced there. So 26 had the meteorites on, 24 has got the sort of like the stars right from the beginning. So this kind of feels like it's the meteorites from that moment, but sort of whole scale, and also Easter egg, there's the Nemesis statue. There was a brief moment where holding in his hand, I thought, what if it was the card from Remembrance of the Daleks? And, you know, that's fine, but come on, guys, it's like the 25th anniversary. It's got to be the bow and the arrow. It's got to be Silver Nemesis. Yeah. That was really hard to do. So I learned a bit of 3D modelling for the bow. The arrow, I think I found an image of someone who was selling it. So then I used that as a reference to paint it all. Then you've got to find pictures of Sylvester holding stuff like that. And just sort
exactly.
Of, I think there was a couple where he was holding his jacket and it was like, oh yeah, we'll use that. This one was a labour of love, but I think of all the covers so far, this is the one that I really vibe with because it feels like an evolution. It's my favourite season, and it came together quite well. I can remember what the booklet cover is for this one. Oh, yes!
Oh, yes. You had to get that TARDIS in there somehow.
Absolutely. It was always going to be the pink TARDIS.
Yeah.
Again, this one felt like it was fully formed when it was in my head. I was just like, okay, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there. To get it to that point was a little bit difficult. So, you know, there's not many full-length pictures of Sophie from that story.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to be as true to it as possible. Same with Sylvester. It was kind of like, it was a bit of a hodgepodge, but I always knew what it was going to be. And again, 3D modelling, I had to learn it to do this lamp behind them, which you're never going to see. It's fully realised. It's right behind them. Again, a labour of love to just sort of get all this together. And then this booklet, I remember this booklet because I just wanted the excitement of them as a duo, very much him directing her to do his bidding, which it becomes problematic in the next season. But at this point here, she's very much kind of like, yeah, I am your weapon.
Oh, yeah, more.
Oh, yes.
Lovely TARDIS.
Yes, lovely TARDIS. This one here, it's got the mail bot. So it's the moment just before it appears in Greatest Show in the Galaxy. And this mail bot here is done by the lovely Dave Ladkin. TARDIS. Oh, yes. So this is from Greatest Show. The mail bot again, lovely. The pile of clothes that Ace crawls over.
Excellent.
There's her jacket. And there's the how to learn juggling. So yeah, it was. This is a lovely one to do. Again, the render from Gavin Rymel, and then I sort of retouched and repainted.
Nice.
I think that's one of the most aesthetically pleasing title sequences.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? I'm really fond of early CGI stuff. It's so nostalgic, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though I didn't grow up watching McCoy, it really reminds me of some of that sort of like early kids' TV that I used to watch, like in the 90s, sort of like with the ropey CGI.
As time goes on, that's going to happen more. You're going to look at like the season 2005.
Yeah.
You go, oh, what is this?
But even that looks quite dated now.
Yeah.
A lot of media at that time, I don't know if you noticed, pre sort of HD and everything, was filmed with that weird haze. Most programmes from that time have like a weird sort of glow.
Yeah, it's like when the Dalek lights go off. You can barely see any of the heads.
Yeah.
It's sort of like,
it's got like there's an aesthetic for that time period.
yeah, that will become nostalgic as well.
Yeah.
And you're
It already is.
God. Yeah, exactly.
I'm massively nostalgic about that era because we are so far away from it now, 20 years away from it. So much has changed.
Yeah, it felt like last week to me.
Oh. Did you enjoy it when it first came out?
For the first couple of episodes, it was a bit of a gear shift. Even though we were talking about sort of like season 26 and those companions going into it, it was the same sort of dynamic.
Yeah.
Because it was made as a modern TV show, deliberately so. There was elements of that I was like, oh, I was not expecting this, I think. And it took a little bit of a recalibration, but not necessarily because it was bad. It was better in a way that I wasn't going for.
The approach was so different.
Yeah,
wasn't
it really was.
So different.
Yeah. When did you become a Doctor Who fan then?
That's a good question. So I first found Doctor Who via The Empty Child.
Oh.
So I didn't know anything about Doctor Who. I didn't know Doctor Who was coming back. And I stumbled upon it literally just channel hopping, channel surfing, trying to find something to watch. I was just captivated by the gas masks. And I was like, oh, this is like, it kind of feels a bit too old for me, like, because I was so scared. And then the credits rolled and it said it was Doctor Who. And I thought, oh, I've heard of that, but this is new. I thought that was that old thing, but this is new. What's going on? So then I kept catching episodes again and again. And then I had a friend at school who also got into it and had the DVDs. And so that's how I sort of got through all of the Tennant stuff. And then just became a massive fan via Tennant. Yeah, and then got my first David Tennant cosplay a few years later. Yeah, the rest is history, really.
Amazing.
I know.
It is incredible how the show just grabs you from that first moment. It's almost like you found something missing in your life that you weren't expecting.
Yeah.
And you just watch this and go, oh, I'm going to get obsessed with
this.
Yeah,
and it's like, there's nothing else like it. It's so specific. Like, your brain just goes, this is made for me.
Yeah.
When I discovered it, I was like, okay, everything about this is me.
It's that missing piece that you didn't know that you had until that point.
Yeah. Nothing has taken over in the way that Doctor Who has. Doctor Who will always be the main thing. Doctor Who just scratches the itch in a way that nothing else does.
Yeah, for sure.
Does that make sense?
I love my Star Wars. I love my Star Trek. I'm very excited for when new shows of that turn up.
Yeah.
I am more excited when Doctor Who
Yes,
turns
exactly,
up.
exactly. Yeah, and I think it's got that longevity as well, and you always know that, like, even if there is a gap or there's, you know, in the future, if there's, you know, there's always the past to look back on. And
Yeah, we've got an
lots of
incredible
extended
legacy.
media and, you know. And you've got lovely box sets.
We've got
as
lovely
well.
box sets.
So, well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
For talking through all of these, and I'm sure we'll reunite in a few years to talk about the next releases. Probably the rest of the collection.
Yeah, probably the final one,
Final in a couple of years.
Unless there is a crazy moment where all of a sudden we just drop a David Tennant box set without telling you. I know, her face.
That would be epic.
It would be epic. I mean, I'd love it to happen. It's so far it's not on the schedule, but just imagine how awesome that would be. I just want to
Get it out
do that. Yeah, exactly.
It's waiting to happen. That front
Yeah.
cover is. You've got the front cover in your head.
Oh
haven't you?
my god, yes.
You've done it.
Maybe.
Oh my god. That is excellent.
Spoilers.
Spoilers, 100%. Well, fingers crossed.
Yeah. This has been lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate
Thank you.
it. We have fun.
We had fun. Until next time.
Until next time.